Greetings. We've looked at the factor. We got our little notepad to see that factors at the top of the variables at the top of the factor are positive or positive added to or values, forceful, which means highly arousing language, syntactic complexity, multiple clauses, public, which means highly institutional, and academic, which means some specialized language dealing with disciplines. And at the bottom of the variable, we have narrative, which is storytelling, and temporal description. We have then description which appeals to language that appeals to the senses, visual, sound, hearing, taste, touch, smell, and uncertainty. Not quite sure what's going on, a mind that's uncertain and doesn't really know things. So what we're going to do is the factors identified two strong styles of reporting in Arab American news, but we have absolutely no idea whether these two styles of reporting also differentiate pre and post 9/11 reporting on terrorism. So we're going to do another statistic called ANOVA, one-way ANOVA, and we're going to put in C50 because if you remembered, we stored factor scores which relate text to the factor. So we're going to look at the factor scores and treat those as a variable that we put in C50. And under group, that is really the group is whether they were pre or post 9/11. And we are going to let that rip. And you can see a pretty big difference that post 9/11, if we go back here to our little sheet, post 9/11, at the top of the factor, you had more positive, forceful, syntactic complexity, public, and academic. Pre 9/11, you had more stories, description, and uncertainty. And if we actually go C, we can see that the p-value is 0.013. And actually, if we do the Tukey test, which I don't think we had done, so let's run it again with the Tukey test under comparisons, hit Tukey. And if you run it then, Tukey will tell you whether you have significance. And these are the differences in the means between the two groups, pre and post 9/11. If an interval does not contain 0, the corresponding means are significant. Notice that here's the 0 point. The confidence interval does not cross 0, which means that we do have significant difference. And actually, the Tukey test also helps us see that even further as we go down here, if I can get that, and go down further in the sheet. And we can see that means that do not share a letter are significantly different. So we can see that post 9/11, we are much higher on the factor, a mean of 0.229, and pre 9/11, we are lower on the factor, negative 2.34 as the mean for all the text. Now this is puzzling because you would think that pre 9/11 we have uncertainty, and you would think there'd be more uncertainty after 9/11, and post 9/11 we have more positive. The news reporting actually becomes more positive. This seems completely counterintuitive. So we're going to stop here and see if we can make sense of this finding.